What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Welcome to my M4 and welcome to the 3-year anniversary of me owning this thing. Now, it's like I said, it's been 3 years and I wanted to, there's no special video here. One of the weird things that I wanted to do with this car is I wanted to do a fuel test. Shout out to Aziz Drives. If you guys know who he is, then you know he does weird fuel tests on ridiculous cars, and I was like, you know what, let me try to do it on my car and see what happens. So for today's video, I am going to go ahead and go for a little bit of a drive with this thing. It's going to be a little POV drive as well, so as you can see, now GoPro and everything up. I've already done reviews of this car before, so there's no like anything crazy that there is for me to show you. It is really, really cold right now outside, absolutely freezing. The weather was much nicer earlier, but right now, for whatever reason, it decided to be really overcast. Regardless, we're still going to go on this drive. It's going to be a mix of a few different types of roads as well. So it should be kind of interesting. A little bit of motorway, a little bit of driving in town, a little bit of driving on back roads. So it should be interesting. I'm not going to absolutely hoon it though. So we're not going to be doing anything crazy with this car. But like I said, I am going to go ahead and try to see what the fuel is going to be like on this thing. Now, like I said, I'm going to have a little bit of a mix of driving. So I'm going to go over into my iDrive, into my trip computer, and reset it completely. Yep, do that. So now everything should be back to standard. All right, let's go. Like I said, I'm not going to be hooning this thing, so I'm not going to be like hammering it along and driving really quickly. I'm going to drive the speed limit and then obviously, of course, try to see what the fuel economy is going to be like on this thing. Now, I already know what it's like, but for people that don't, for people that have no idea what it's like to daily drive one of these things, I guess this will give you a little bit of a nice, I guess, perspective or outlook on what it is like to drive it and what the fuel economy is like. I'm also going to edit in the video. I'm going to put the actual, figures in like miles per gallon and stuff like that as well for people that want to know that. The figures are going to be in liters per 100 kilometers. So that's what you guys are going to hear me say. Right now, I don't know if you guys can see that. If I go all the way down there, my average, overall average, long-term, all-time average with this car is 10.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which, if you know anything about these cars, or just cars in general, that is pretty damn good. So I am now running about, I'd say about 550 horsepower in this thing. So it's not completely stock, but I also wanted to just preface that first before we do anything. Also, I'm not going to be, like I said, hammering it long or driving really quickly or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to be as smooth as I possibly can with the driving. Just basically regular driving. Nothing crazy, nothing insane. So just everyday normal driving. Just so it doesn't skew the figures at all. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm doing this this test like this. So it's also like a mix of roads as well that I'm going to end up trying to use as well here. So should be an interesting test. Should be interesting to see what happens with these tests. Oh, there's a little bath. That's cool. Yeah, it should be kind of interesting as well to see what sort of what's I gonna say? Figures this thing gets on these types of drives, because I haven't really properly looked at it. I obviously know my all-time average, but I don't really look at this thing to actually see what sort of figures I get all the time. You know what I mean? So yeah, basically, I'm just kind of as interested as you lot are as well with the figures on this thing. So we'll see. Tires are pumped up as well, so the ride should be a little bit firmer than normal. I'm going to be driving, like I said, in like the most standard settings possible. So what I ended up doing is I made my M1 mode into basically the comfort settings on this car. So my throttle control, I guess RPM and throttle response and all that sort of stuff, it's all on efficient, and suspension's in comfort, steering is in comfort. So it's basically like as if you'd be driving this thing all the time, right? Like 99% of the time I drive it in this mode. I don't go around, rallying it and flooring it and doing all that sort of stuff. So 99% of the time it will be just driving around in this mode. This is pretty much how I drive this thing. There's nothing really crazy about it. I mean, sure, you've seen some videos of me POV driving this thing on the channel before, so I mean, none of this should be very new, but yeah, I feel like it should be kind of interesting to see what sort of figures we get with the combined everything, right? Because obviously if I go and I just sit on the motorway doing 120 the entire time, it's going to be incredibly skewed. Because I remember when I went on holiday on my road trip with this thing, and I tried to see sort of what sort of figures I was getting with the car. On the motorway, I was pulling like 8, which is really, really impressive for a car like this, to start pulling 8, right? So it's really, really interesting now to see as a combined figure what it'd be like. So overall on the road trip, I did like 8 point something or 9 point something, I think it was. And that was a mix of a bit of hooning on the Autobahn, but also just driving, you know, normally on the regular roads. And on motorways that have, you know, limited speed, obviously I drove the limited speed. Yeah. Should I pull a little Marquez Brownlee and just start absolutely hooning it? Do like twice the speed limit? Oh God, man. What was that guy thinking? Honestly, what was he thinking? He is so like tech focused that he should have noticed. I don't know why. Like he should have honestly noticed that it still says the speed right there. Like, unless he doesn't edit. Well, obviously, I don't really think, because he's such a massive YouTuber, I don't really think he edits his videos. So I'm pretty sure he has an editor, which screwed him over. So I wonder how long that guy has left on his editing team. Unless the guy edited it and then sent it to Marquez, and then he kind of approved it for the go-ahead. But it's just funny because you can see the speed limit, you can see it's a school zone, and you can see him blurring out that, obviously, the speed right in front of him, but he didn't blur that bit where it said the speed for like the passenger. So it's just dumb. It's just a dumb thing to be part of, and it's hilarious that happened to him. So yeah, there you go. So it's pretty smooth driving this thing. It just feels like a regular car. Like, I've made a video on this thing in the past, and I've talked a little bit about the day-to-day driving, on what it's like to actually drive this thing normally on the road, and it just feels like a regular. Once you put everything in comfort mode, it feels like a regular car. A little bit stiffer than a normal car, but it is still feeling like a regular car. I honestly do think that it makes a massive difference having the comfort or adjustable suspension. I feel like that is a massive thing for this car with the adjustable suspension, because honestly, I think driving this thing just fully in sport mode, it is annoying. It is just very, very annoying. So I'm pretty sure once you spec this thing, it gives you the option to obviously go a lot more softer than normal. So the thing is, I'm pretty sure the ones that don't have it spec'd, they're constantly in sport mode or sport plus mode, and I don't think I could live with that, honestly. It's annoying. It's just everything starts to vibrate. Like, every single thing starts to vibrate. It feels annoying to drive like that 100% of the time. You know what I mean? So it's not a fun experience doing that like all day, every day. You know what I mean? So I definitely am thankful that I got this car with the adjustable dampers. So that's a good thing. So here's a few back roads. We're going to be doing 80 on these roads, so it's not really that fast, but it's going to be, actually I don't even know if we're going to be able to do 80. It is a little bit busy out, so we might not be able to do fully the speed limit here, so we might be able to just be driving like 60 or something, which would actually help with our fuel economy, but usually on this road it is 80, so we'll see. This is one of the worst junctions in the world. There's been so many crashes here, so we'll see. We'll see if we crash now. We won't. I'm just joking, but I'm just saying it is one of the worst junctions in the world. Look at the amount of traffic here. Oh my God, man. This is on a weekend. This is on a Saturday, boys. This is... What in the world? This place is a mess. Always has been. I hope they do something here, because this is a joke. They need to put like a roundabout or some sort of a traffic light system or something, because it is insane. Because if there's constant traffic going on that bit of road back there, then you can't do anything. You just have to sit here and wait for cars to come through. But yeah, that's pretty much it. A little bumpy here on this bit, because obviously wants you to slow down. This guy's indicating around the corner. Nice. Good. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing 80 on this road by the looks of things. I think we're going to be sitting back doing about 60 or 70 maybe. It's not even for that long anyway. It's only for like a little bit here until we go around the corner. Yeah. I also have my sunroof open a little bit, so hopefully there's a little bit of fresh air that comes into the cabin. Also a tiny bit of sound. I don't know if you guys really care about the sound of the outside. I mean, this thing is, like I said, it's in comfort mode, so you won't be able to hear anything at all. But at least there's a little bit of light that comes into the cabin. I'm actually really thankful with the sunroof. Really, really. Because in the ones that have the carbon roof, obviously this whole bit is dark, right? It's like Alcantara or cloth or like grey cloth or whatever it is. And basically, like, it's just like it's so dark in the cabin. So having this open up here is actually such a nice, like, airy feel to the car. You know, it's just nice. It's just a nice little addition. I know a lot of people don't really like speccing it because they like the big carbon roof, but I mean, I think I've talked about this before in a previous video, but carbon roof on a black car just doesn't look that great because it kind of blends in and you don't really notice it unless you're standing right next to it. You know what I mean? If it's on a bright colored car, 100%. I would spec the sunroof 100%. You know? Oh, sorry, the other way around. I would spec the carbon roof 100%. I wouldn't spec the sunroof. Like, there's no reason for me to do it because it looks so much better with the darker roof. But as this is a black car, then, you know, what's the point? So I am now, let's have a look at the what the vehicle information says. My trip computer right now, average of 50 kilometers an hour. We've done 8 kilometers so far. We're at 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers. How is this not an economical car? How is this not an economical car? It's going to go up a little bit, I think, once we get to some sort of traffic or once we get to drive into town a little bit. But overall, for this type of driving, it is not that bad. It is not bad at all. And also, it's going to cancel out as well because once we get past the town bit, we're going to get into a little area where it's just a motorway. So the motorway is going to make it even better. It's mad. 8.6. I think we can go to one of these as well if you go over to efficient dynamics and you can see the fuel consumption from before. This is because the car was idling, by the way. So don't look at that and be like, oh my God, what is going on with that consumption? It is just because the car was idling. If you go over to the past 16 hours, you can see it's not that bad. It is a little high because, again, it's just mostly stuck in traffic type of vibe, but it's not as bad as you may think. So, yeah, I'll leave this screen up as well so you guys can see. I don't know if you guys can read it. I have the GoPro in 4K, so you should be able to read quite a lot of the stuff that happens here. This is a really good GoPro, by the way. I didn't even buy the newest one that came out. I remember I think this is a Hero 9 as well that I have, but it has pretty much everything that I really need for the like driving vlogs and stuff like that. And plus even like, you know, the wheel at home as well, the driving sim in like the games and stuff like that. It's also really, really good for that. So I don't know. I don't think there's a point of going anywhere much newer than the Hero 9 by the looks of things. I just got it on sale when it was on Amazon. It's actually a really, really good camera. So that's what I'm using right now to record the POV videos. And I also bought one of those sets for the GoPros. Cheap set from Amazon again. I don't even know what the actual brand is, but it's some cheap set where you get like the thing for the head strap, you get like a chest strap, you get like loads of different types of things. You get like some different handles, you get like a little like floating thing as well, so you can like literally throw the GoPro in the water and it'll float at the top of the water. There you get like some case for it as well. It's a really good like pack of things to get, and it was cheap. I'm pretty sure it was like 20 or 30 euros. So you get so much stuff, plus a lot of these like little like connector bits, I guess, that like holds the GoPro in place. It's perfect. Like it's so good for that sort of stuff. This guy missed his turn. I think he tried to turn into somewhere and he missed his turn. Right. Let's get to this little town bit here and see what happens. We should be stacking up the old fuel consumption now. It should go quite a bit higher as well. We're driving at a much slower speed, so it's going to go up by quite a bit. I also don't really like driving quickly on Irish roads because they're just bad. So this is one thing that I I don't really like doing on Irish roads is driving very, very quickly. And if that is where the line of traffic is, it's going to be pretty bad. We're going to be stuck in traffic for a little while. I might just cut the video and skip ahead a little bit because there's no point of me showing you guys that. Oh no, it's just someone driving really slowly. Never mind. Oh no, there is still traffic there. So it's both. Okay, I guess I'll chill here, and then once we start going past the traffic lights, we'll return to the regular scheduled show. All right, we have made progress. We're the third car in the queue, so hopefully now, in a minute, we should be able to finally go. Our consumption, or our speed, first of all, has gone down. It's still going down. We're at 33 kilometers an hour average. Obviously, this is 0, so it's plummeting down really quickly. Our fuel consumption has gone up to 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers from standing still, basically moving up like 50 meters. Yeah, let's have a look and see what else happens after this. There shouldn't be. I think there's like 1 or 2 more sets of traffic lights as well in this little town, in this little village. So try go through it, hopefully quite smoothly, and then it's just Motorway, and then it's another little town as well at the very, very end before I stop over in a car park. So it's not going to be a long journey, but it doesn't need to be a very long journey. It's just, I just want to have like a mix of different bits of driving, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what this video is about. What is that? Ew. That is awful. That is awful. Haven't seen any interesting cars out today, I have to say. I haven't seen anything crazy, anything that really stands out. There's no interesting cars. I kind of wanted to like spot a few interesting cars, but like I said, there aren't really any out and about. Can we like go now? Is it our time to go? No, pedestrians now, and then us, hopefully. I don't even know how long we've been here for now. I don't think it's 10 minutes, but it definitely feels like it. Definitely feels very close to about 10 minutes. Come on. I also, by the way, this is one thing that I didn't mention. I'm not using stop start either because I hate it, and I don't think any performance car should have stop start. Actually, any car in general shouldn't have stop start because it's bad for the car itself. But there's no chance I'm using that. I remember the very first night when I got this thing, I went and I coded it out. So I coded it so it remembers what it was on last, which for me, it would be off pretty much all the time. But it just means that I never have to really... Nice. Stopped in the yellow box. Very nice. Okay, anyway, but yeah, it remembers basically what I had it on before, and 100% of the time it's off. So that's kind of what it's like with this thing. I just turned it fully off at the very beginning and then just forgot about it. But yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about this car, what it's been like to own this thing over the past like 3 years. I mean, I've made a few videos on this thing in the past, and I talked about reliability and pretty much everything about that, and obviously things that I like and things that I don't like. But obviously within the last year, I actually did have a couple of issues with it. Yeah, well, it's not really like big issues. I can't really say I've had issues. I've had a few things that went slightly wrong with it, and it's the ABS sensors for both of the rear wheels. So that's pretty much what happened. One of them went. I had like a little bit of an issue, I think, with it last year, but it kind of just fixed itself. I didn't really do anything. I just kind of, it just kind of went, I think, a little bit. And then I remember I was driving on a motorway. This was during my road trip as well. So I was like, oh man, there's no way. I got off the ferry and I literally had, I've driven maybe like a kilometer. And then obviously if you've ever had any sort of ABS sensor issues, especially with BMWs, it's hilarious because everything pops up. This turns into a Christmas tree. Everything's wrong with it. You can't use traction control. You can't use DTC. You can't use stability control or anything like that. You can't use any of the M1 and M2 modes. You can't use any of the modes down here. You can't change the transmission. You can't do anything. And then obviously over here it pops up with a ton of faults. And it was my very first time experiencing it. I kind of knew what it was, but yeah, I just basically kind of kept driving. I was like, I can't stop now. I'm in France now. I can't just be like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to stay in this hotel room for like 3 or 4 days. It's going to be very expensive, and then bring it to like BMW. So I was like, you know what? As long as I can drive it like this, it's fine. So I drove it like that for the day. I went and I kept stopping, and I turned it off and turned it back on, and I kind of let it like settle a little bit, and it fixed itself. It just, at the end of that evening of driving, it turned off. Check engine light went off. Everything really turned off. Where's the plane? I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, Ducati. There's some interesting stuff. But yeah, basically it all kind of just turned off. And then the next morning when I turned it on, I was like kind of crossing my fingers. Hopefully it's all just off. And yeah, it worked fine since then. Up until 2 months ago. So about 2 months ago, I had the same thing. I wasn't flooring it or accelerating or anything like that. It just randomly popped up as I was driving. And yeah, obviously everything popped up again. Christmas tree on the dash. And basically had the thing is, because this has a limited slip diff, it locks your rear axle as well. So it locked my diff. So driving this thing around roundabouts, it was the funniest thing in the world, because you could just hear it skipping with the rear wheels. It was just hilarious. So basically that was like the funniest part of this entire thing. I immediately knew what it was, right? Because obviously I had this issue before. So I was like, I booked it in for BMW, and they ended up fixing it. It was €350, I think, for it to be fixed. They also washed the car and did all that sort of stuff, so I don't really care about that. But to actually fix the issue was about €350. They had to order a part, because obviously they don't really have this. For whatever reason, this doesn't use the same sort of ABS sensor as your regular BMWs. Apparently, that's what they said. So they ordered it in. I had to wait 2 days for them to get it and then put it on, which I didn't really mind. But I basically just had to wait 2 days for it to get done. So had that done, and I drove about 1,000 kilometers, 1,100 kilometers, I think it was. And then the same thing happened again. And I was like, surely this isn't the exact same one. And it wasn't. It was the other one. By this point, I actually ended up buying this app, which is not sponsored, by the way. I wish I was sponsored, because I use their app all the time. Beamer Code is one of the apps that I use, and it is brilliant. And also there's another one which I can't remember what it's called. One of them allows you to like read codes and stuff like that, and the other one allows you to code stuff. So simple stuff, like I coded my taillights, for example. I ended up coding a bunch of other things. I coded out, like I said, the stop start as well with that app. So I did that, and then obviously with the other one I can read like fault codes and stuff like that, which I ended up doing. But yeah, basically Reddit is the same thing. It doesn't tell you which side it's on though. So when I brought it to BMW, obviously they found out which side it was on, and it was the opposite corner. I think it was the passenger side this time around, because the first time was the driver's side. So had that fixed again, another €350. This time I actually needed a taxi to get back, so they called me a taxi. I didn't even have to pay for it or anything like that. So they kind of done everything for me. So yeah, and yeah, that was pretty much it. So I did spend about €700 this year on this car, just on maintenance stuff, I guess. And yeah, it's not really that expensive, to be honest, if you think about it. So this is stuff that doesn't go wrong all the time, though. You know, that's what I'm saying. Because if it was something that was breaking constantly, right, or if it's like something that's an issue constantly, then it would be a little bit of a worry, or a little bit of an annoyance. But it isn't. You know, like the ABS sensor, how often does it actually go? You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. That's everything else that has gone wrong with this car. If you've watched any of the previous videos that I've made in the past, I've basically talked about stuff that has gone wrong with this car. And apart from the snapped rear springs, we didn't really have much going on. Had the rocker cover gasket, which was gone on it when I bought this car, so they ended up fixing it before I even picked it up, because it was like dripping like the tiniest little bit of oil, and they ended up fixing that up. They brought it to a BMW dealer. Why does this guy do that? He sees the guy accelerating, trying to get into that lane, so he pulls up and then accelerates, just like make the gap smaller, so make it worse for him. Why do people do that? I don't understand. Also here, for people that are gonna be like, oh, why are you hogging the middle lane? That lane turns into an off-ramp, by the way. You can see it in the sign up ahead. This road is 80, and it's gonna turn into 120. With the traffic that I see, like even right now, I'm not even doing 80, I can't. we might not be able to even do the speed limit. So that is fine. All right. Let's see if we can maybe get past some of these people. Little Q8 there. It's a weird car, isn't it? It's weird that thing is the same as the Lamborghini Urus, but the Urus is... What is this clown doing? What is that? Vile driving. Absolutely awful. Then it goes into 120 here. Yeah, there's way too much traffic. We're not doing 120 here. Not a chance. So I'm going to turn off my my cruise control. I don't have adaptive cruise control in this thing, which I feel like I probably should have. But there's also, like down here, there's like a tab, right, where you can have a bunch of different types of options available for this thing. And yeah, they just don't exist. Like obviously this thing was not optioned very high. To be honest, I don't really care. The only thing that I would really like on this thing is, okay, the only thing that I would really like on this thing would be the adaptive cruise control. Apart from that, I don't want any lane keeping assist. I've had that before and I've used it in a car before and it's annoying. I don't like it. It just feels weird. It feels like the car is just bouncing off of like lines like this, like left, right, left, right. It never like fully settles. Maybe it was just a bad system. It was a Ford system and I just didn't like it that much. So yeah, ideally I would have just wanted the adaptive cruise control. Apart from that, I don't really want anything else. I mean, regular cruise control is perfectly fine, which is what I use. There's no need for anything else. Come on, Fiesto. I mean, there isn't really that much room in front, but we're not doing 120, and I kind of want to speed up a little bit so we can make this a little bit more fair for the car. I want to. Oh, that Q8 is undertaking. This is nice. We can see some nice, good Irish driving here. This is great. We can see some good Irish driving. People undertaking, ripping in and out of of the motorway last second. It's great. You guys get to see some good stuff. So right now my fuel consumption is 10.5. Oh, we can actually do 120 now. 10.5. It is going to go down. It is going to go down very slowly, but sure, we'll see what happens. I can't actually see if there's any cars in that lane. There is a car. Oh, we're going way too quick. I was going to move over, but there's no point because we're catching up to it very quickly. I'm just going to have to come back here again. And there's nobody behind me that's close, so we're good. There's no road discipline in Ireland for motorways. Absolutely none. People just drive wherever they want, however they want, whatever speed they want. There is no road discipline. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm a guy that likes to drive fast, right? I like driving quickly. It's fun. Obviously, I'm a car guy, so it's fun and it's nice. But I honestly do think that they should put in average speed cameras on motorways. Am I wrong in saying that? At least big sections of it. The M50, for example, in Dublin needs it because people treat it. Okay, I'm moving over. There's no chance of me sitting here. There's no point. I don't know if you guys can see the absolutely massive queue between all the cars. Can you see it? I can see it here. There's no way. Both lanes are driving the exact same speed. There's no point in me being in that lane. So this is what I was saying, right? People drive at whatever speed they want, whatever lane they want. They do whatever they want. And it's mostly on the M50 that I see this. The M50, by the way, for people that don't know that aren't from Ireland, is basically the ring road around Dublin, right? The city centre, the capital of Ireland. And yeah, it is horrendous to drive on. Like, you see the stupidest thing. If you've ever seen like Russian dashcam videos, there are days on that road where it just genuinely feels like you're in like a dashcam like compilation. It is the funniest thing in the world. It's crazy. I don't understand how in a country like this we still have people driving so poorly. But I think it is due to bad road policing. I'm pretty sure that is what's causing this thing. And we actually have a bit of rain, so let's close that. It's just bad road policing. I genuinely just feel like it's not something that is done properly in this country. There's no, like, I think there should be more speed cameras on the M50. I definitely do think that. I don't want people to be doing 150 in like the slow lane because someone in the fast lane is doing like 90 kilometers an hour. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's no proper road policing, and that's basically what happens all the time in this country, especially on the M50. It's just something that just constantly happens, and it just feels like this country is way behind in terms of road policing and just actually driving. I don't get it. As soon as you go into mainland Europe, especially, like, I've done this, like, a road trip in the past a few times. As soon as you go into mainland Europe, my God, man, France is a little bit iffy. As soon as you go to, like, Germany and Austria, it's like heaven. Like, everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody drives well. They drive the speed limit, or they drive when they're on the Autobahn faster. It is just such a lovely experience. It is just way too nice. And you come back to Ireland and it is an absolute mess. It is genuinely just an absolute mess. It's weird. All right, now we're back in another little town, so our fuel consumption might go up a little bit again. We don't really get to do a lot of motorway driving, so might expect the fuel consumption to be a little bit higher than normal. What are we looking at for cars here? This guy's coming. He's cutting across. See what I mean? Even on roundabouts, man, people just don't care. No indicator, no nothing. It just cuts across 2 lanes. Boom, then he's there. It's mad. It's mad how bad the standard of driving is in Ireland. I think it's probably very, very similar in the UK as well. I've watched so many different compilations before of bad driving in the UK, and it's so similar as well. It is just bad. So we managed to get ourselves in another town here. Little bit of traffic, not too bad. It's just a bit of red lights here and there. I think our fuel consumption is going to probably go up into the high 10s by the time we end up stopping. So right now we're at 9.6, decent-ish average, but I think, like I said, once we get fully stopped where we're supposed to stop, it's going to probably go a little bit higher. So I'm probably going to skip forward this bit because, again, I'm probably just going to be stuck in a little bit of traffic. But yeah, let's go forward to when I pull up and I park. All right, well, that was a lot more traffic than I thought it was going to be. Genuinely so much more than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if it's probably because people are doing their Christmas shopping or what the deal is, but there is a lot more traffic. I feel like we waited here for so long on this little strip. We'll see if we can find some parking. It's a good thing that I like to park absolutely miles away from everybody, so I don't really have to worry too much about parking close, which I feel like a lot of people are going to end up doing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to drive to the far end as well. This guy's pulled out into the road. Nice. Okay. Yeah, there's absolutely tons of parking. Why do people park so close? I don't understand. Just park out here. Look how nice this is. You can just park so far away. There you go. Easy. Grand old jobbo. All right. I'm gonna drive in under this bit because I don't want to get into the part where there's rain. So I'm actually gonna drive into the right here. So let's have a little drive in there. Ooh, that's a RS4 in there. That's nice. Look at the SL. There's like an SL in the 996 911. That's nice. That's very nice. All right. Well, I'm gonna, like I said, park absolutely miles away from everybody. So this is where I'm parking right here. Easy clap, reverse in. I usually take up 2 spots, but now I'm being nice just for the sake of the video. I'm just taking up the 1 spot. But yeah, I do usually take up 2 spots. I am one of those people that takes up 2 spots. I've had so many door dings on this car where it's just annoying, like genuinely just new ones on the driver's side door, where people just constantly hit it with their doors, and it's gotten to the point where it's so infuriating that I just end up parking over 2 spots. I do park miles away though, so I'm not trying to block anybody there. Plus, if I'm in a place where obviously I can't take up 2 spots because there's no parking at all, I don't. But most of the time I do take up 2 spots. So you can judge me all you want, but when you get your car and you have so many like door hits from other people slamming their doors into yours, I just can't be bothered for that anymore. So yeah, this is what we finished off with. 10.3 liters per 100 kilometers with actually quite a lot of traffic. So there's a bunch of different variables, of course, in terms of how this is going to affect the fuel consumption. But of course, like I said, I wanted to make this kind of fair. Had a mix of driving. Of course, like I said, a little bit of traffic obviously skewed that number a little bit, but 10.3 is what we got for today. Again, miles per gallon and all that sort of stuff should be up somewhere on the screen as well. Yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm down to make more videos like this. Again, huge shout out to Azzy's Drives for this idea. It's just something kind of funny that I wanted to try out. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.